Services Board meeting at Portsmouth this week that doctors and nurses now need to educate the public on the growing health emergency.
So doctors and nurses, this is your call to action. The ministers of health can deliberate, they can set the policies, they can put aside the resources, but if we are not speaking, if we're not educating, if we're not informing, if we're not sensitizing, we'll have a problem. We do have a problem. We can no longer be consumers of information. We have to be producers of information. This society needs education. And because so many of us have access to the internet and we go and we consult the internet for medical advice. But your work now is much more difficult than it was 20 years ago. And this is why it requires us to be even more proactive and active in that fight. If we do not watch it, we may not have pilots to fly planes anymore in the Caribbean. We may not have teachers in schools. When you call the police, they will tell you that the officer is at the hospital. He got a stroke, God forbid. The doctors themselves, they may become patients and nobody to care for them. And then when we send our children to school, the principal will call us and tell us, come get your child from school because the teacher is on sick leave. I'm not usually wrong, but I'm hoping I'm wrong on this one. We have to really take action on this. But unless we address those fundamentals, we'll be spinning top and mud.
And that's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit speaking at Portsmouth earlier this week during two regional meetings. Other news this evening, over 300,000 cruise passengers are expected to arrive in Dominica for the 2024-2025 cruise season. A plaque exchange ceremony was held on board the ship this morning. Director of Tourism and CEO of Discover Dominica Authority, Marva Williams, says 12 cruise ships will make their inaugural call to Dominica for the season.
This year, we anticipate 235 cruise calls, an 11% increase from last year's 212 vessels. Even more remarkable is our expectation of hosting approximately 375,000 passengers, a significant 22% rise from last season's 306,601 visitors. These numbers reflect the growing trust and enthusiasm that cruise lines have for our beautiful island as a premier destination. Last season, 234,618 passengers disembarked in Dominica, with 131,264 engaging in tours showing our stunning scenery and rich culture. With this year's increase in cruise calls and passenger arrivals, we are poised for even greater engagement and exploration. We are particularly excited to announce that 12 ships, including those like Abella, Explorer, Sapphire Princess, Majestic Princess, Resilient Lady, will make their inaugural visits to our shores.
And that's Director of Tourism and CEO of Discover Dominica Authority, Marva Williams. President of the Dominica Association of Teachers, Mervyn Alexander, has told teachers to be careful before they seek employment abroad. Mr. Alexander says there are reports of teachers showing interest in leaving Dominica for more lucrative teaching opportunities.
Let me also caution teachers as well, too, because I know many teachers don't think we know what is happening. We are aware that many teachers have applied in other countries for jobs. Yes, we know that, because we have our links in the region. As a teachers union, we have links in the region, so we talk to each other. So in the region, we know many teachers from Dominica are applying for jobs overseas. No wrong, no harm. Please note that the grass is not always greener on the other side. Please, I caution you about that. The grass is not always greener on the other side. So be very, very careful when you're making the decision to move. Because when I think of the rent and the cost of living, we cry in Dominica, yes, we always high, yes, but we are privileged in a sense as well, to my dear people. Don't fool ourselves about that. So we are not that badly off. in a sense. We need more money, yes. I'm not saying we need more money, yes, because people need to value our profession better. Also, I want to also caution us as teachers, be very careful what we say. The tongue is a very powerful and valuable weapon, but it is also a very dangerous weapon. So teachers, when you say things, be very careful what you say, because you might be shooting yourself in the foot. So be very careful what you utter as a teacher. That's all I will say on that level.
And that's the president of the Dominica Association of Teachers, DAT, Mervyn Alexander. Mr. Alexander also called on policymakers to consult teachers on education matters. He made reference to the JSP program, which existed in Dominica.
I recall clearly when the JSP program was being phased out, many teachers were saying, no, don't cut off that program. Just extend it to make it a 5-year program instead. It was cut off. And everybody went to mainstream secondary school. Now, those of us who taught JSP knew the value of that program. I taught in that program, so I know what I'm talking about. I taught in that program when we were at the old Goodwill School, what they call Goodwill Junior High School. And I remember, I am not an agriculturist, but we had agriculture. And all the stones and the rocks in Goodwill, we had an excellent garden at the back of the school. That's JSP. If we really were to probably conduct a survey or do some sort of thing, we would see that there were not many dropouts when we had JSP in schools, as we have now in our mainstream secondary schools. So I think if the officials at the time had listened to our teachers, I think our education would be better off now. So I am really calling on the policymakers to please, teachers are important. They are the ones on the ground. Listen to them, speak to them a little bit, so we can get things going more and more.
And that's Mervyn Alexander, the president of the Dominica Association of Teachers. Minister for Environment Kozia Frederick says the Zero Waste Adopt a School initiative met its objectives. The prize-giving ceremony for the program took place at Goodwill Parish Hall this morning. 47 schools took part in the program, which began in March of this year.
But I just want to mention and to say in no uncertain terms that this is just the beginning of what we can do as citizens of our country. How do we treat with waste that is disposed illegally? How do we treat with mixing up the waste? And the separation of waste may be the most important solution. And so the project itself is one that we want to magnify. We really want to highlight the important work that the corporate citizens have done with us, to partner with us, to partner with schools. We think that the government has a part to play, of course, but civil society and business places do have a part to play to ensure that we have the necessary resources to keep our project and keep our island clean. And so we will extend this project over time. We have gathered more resources to extend this. We realize that there are more than 47 schools participated. In total, we had more than 3,000 students. The private sector really adopted some schools. We saw the participation of the 4-H clubs, like I said, and the environmental clubs. And we had more than 300,000 bottles collected. And so we're really, really happy. And just hearing the shipping out of this material. And so, in reflection, we may want to consider having our own recycling plant here on this space.
Minister for Environment Kozia Frederick. On the feature segment of the DBS Evening News, we shine the light on the local vendors and tour operators. The 2024-2025 cruise ship season officially began today. Vendors, taxi operators, hair braiders and tour operators came out in their numbers to welcome the visitors.
So my name is Reynold Alcindor, the Vice President of Combine Taxi Inc. As you can see, behind my back is the Celebrity Summit. It is the first ship for the 2024-2025 season. I must say that everybody is of high spirit. We've waited for 5.5, 6 months, and so here it is that the first one is in port today. And so we did all what we had to do. We ensured that the buses was in good shape, ready to move the tours. And so yes, a lot of buses did went out. And so everybody is elated, everybody is happy, and we're looking forward for only good things to come for the entire season. I urge the taxi drivers, the stakeholders, the tour guides, the vendors, everybody to do their best, put their best foot forward. Let's do all what we have to do so that we can get the cruise lines coming in here, because the more cruise lines that come here, more people that disembark the ships, is more money in our pocket. And so everybody has their commitment, their family to take care of, and so let's keep the industry strong and healthy. We must not do what is not right to jeopardize the industry.
Well, it's the first day, so actually it will pick up. But that boat is not a fast boat; it's very slow. But apart from that, things are moving on. Yes, because that one have how many calls? I think 5 calls. But slowly and surely, things will pick up.
I'm better known as Bandolu. I'm Wilfred Bruno. We do drumming, all kind of drumming. Tumbla, Kalaja, Minde, Lewos, Quadrille. My expectation, I already see the season looking bright, Bayfront looking well, and the flowers looking very beautiful. And I can see the development taking over. And I can see Dominica shine. This year, Dominica gonna shine the best.
Seeing how it is now, like as if this is just like last season, It started just like last season. I don't know. I don't know what happening to tourism now. Because we're really not doing like substance that we can go home and do something. As for last season, I never get. It's $3, $5. That is what I was doing at my home. I have my children and things like that. Here I sit down. I can remember in the years gone by. This again me 24 years since I vending. And how many years? It was better.
Well, I'm expecting the season to be a good one. As usual, we always expect good, but sometimes it doesn't always turn out the way we expect it. But I'm hoping we are almost to the end of 2024. So I know Summit has always been a very good boat for me since I have been into tourism. So I'm expecting to make some good cash.
Local vendors and taxi operators commenting as the 2024-2025 cruise ship season opened in Dominica this morning. The news continues right after this.
What's on your back-to-school checklist? Fast, reliable internet, a free Chromebook, a smartphone. With Flow, you can check everything off your list. Sign up for broadband and get 25% off Turbo plus 6 months or free Chromebook while stocks last. And if you need a new phone, our postpaid bundles offer smartphones for just $4. Make back to school easy with Flow. Visit discoverflow.co for details.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
One easy loan.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
To upgrade my phone and even my home with one simple loan.
More money.
To have your wedding, to go traveling, to do anything.
More money.
No security. Speedy delivery, just check NBT. Apply anytime. In branch online, it's more money time.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
No collateral.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
Speedy delivery.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
Just check NBT.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
DBS News.
Experts are investigating unusual thermal activity detected at the summit of La Soufrière volcano in St. Vincent, while officials urge the public to avoid the area until further notice. This was disclosed in a release from the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Agency for Public Information. The release stated that according to the country's National Emergency Management Organization, a low thermal irregularity was detected at the summit of the La Soufrière volcano. Despite the unusual activity, officials confirm that the volcano still remains at a green alert level. Finally, this evening, the National Hurricane Center says Hurricane Milton has weakened slightly to a still powerful Category 3 storm on a path towards Florida's central west coast. The hurricane is expected to make landfall tonight. The Miami office of the National Weather Service issued more tornado warnings this afternoon. The storm surge has begun on the southwest Florida coast, with the gauge at Naples already 4 feet above normal levels, reaching the level of minor flooding. Well, we'll continue to monitor that situation in Florida, and I suspect DBS Radio will be bringing you some updates as the night unfolds. It is 18 minutes after 6 o'clock. That's news. Gavin Richards comes up shortly with the sports report.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Well, good evening. I'm Gavin Richards with the DBS Evening Sports Report. Let's kick off with some football news. DFA President Glenn Etienne says the 2024 football season has been challenging. He says a number of factors have hampered the smooth running of the various leagues. He says a decision may be taken soon on the future of the Under-20 Boys League.
Our league is ongoing. We have a number of leagues going on. The Premier Men team is going on. The Women's League is also going on, senior women. We also have the Under-20, which we had to put a little halt on because when we look at the data, it looks like most of the teams, they do not have the volume of Under-20 players that we were expecting. But we look at how we craft it for the next season. We also have the Under-15 league, which is ongoing. We have run into overtime, and that is, well, because we had some issues with the weather. We had some other traveling logistics when senior men team has traveled that we decided to shelve some game. So some of these things set us back. But we have put some policies in place. We have put new plans in place that will guide us in the next season, that we don't run into these hiccups or to these problems in 2025.
And that's the DFA President, Glenn Etienne. Meantime, Mr. Etienne is hoping that the men's national team can return with victories as they meet Bermuda in the CONCACAF Nations League this weekend. Dominica will play its first game on Saturday.
All we need, all we want from them is victory. I mean, the last competition or the last time they participated in the CNL game, which is the CONCACAF Nation League, a few months ago in Antigua, we did a bit okay in the sense that we had a victory and we had a loss. So this time around, we're expecting 2 wins. So that will put us, 9 points in 3 games, and hopefully would get us to League A for the next season. Although there's another leg to come in Dominican Republic. So, but we don't depend on that leg. We want to make sure that we take the opportunity from this leg on to qualify for the next leg. So bring my regards back to the players, bring my sentiment back to them, let them know that the Dominican Republic is expecting them to have 2 victories in Bermuda.
DFA President Glenn Etienne. West Indies women's assistant coach Ryan Austin says the team is ready for their next ICC T20 World Cup match with Bangladesh. Well, the West Indies ladies will be gunning for their second win in the tournament as they face Bangladesh tomorrow morning. That game will bowl off at 10 o'clock Caribbean time. The West Indies, after losing to South Africa in their opening match, bounced back to beat Scotland in their second game.
The team is pretty prepared. We obviously know that Bangladesh is basically a spin-based unit. So we already know all these things, but With our philosophy is now we more focused on what we can control. But having said that, we still have that element of power with our batting that that could counter the spin as well.
What are the key areas that you're looking to exploit, particularly having assessed Bangladesh as a team?
I would say that we are banking on our power as well. If you look at the wicket, they're playing pretty slow at the moment. South Africa today actually had a good total on the wicket, and if you watch how they batted, they actually use their feet a lot to the spin. So we are looking to obviously go into the game with that sort of temperament mindset with respects to their spin bowling attack as well.
And that's the West Indies women's assistant coach Ryan Austin. Austin is backing captain Hayley Matthews to be among the runs. Matthews, the team's number one batter, hasn't had a big score yet in the tournament.
Having said that, Hayley hasn't scored any runs as yet. So I am pretty sure she's hungry. So I'm Bangladesh and England better watch out because she's coming. Yeah, they are going to be key, but we also have some players like Chanel Henry, who is really hitting the ball really hard, and her confidence has grown from the last game, after getting player of the match. So, she's been hitting it pretty well, and there's also Leah Aline who can hit it as well. And from the top, you can see that Kiana Joseph is coming well. So with those big three that I call, the other girls are really stepping up and stepping into line, which is a positive for us.
West Indies women's assistant coach Ryan Austin. In some more cricket news this evening, Joe Root and Harry Brook hit an unbeaten double-century partnership to lead England's charge on day 3 of the first test match with Pakistan in Pakistan. Well, Brook ended day 3 unbeaten on 141. Joe Root not out on 176 as England closed the day on 492 for 3. England, they're still trailing Pakistan on first innings by 64 runs. Pakistan earlier in the match made 556 batting first. In total, 5 batsmen have scored centuries so far in the test match. Joe Root's knock off 176 not out has also led him to becoming England's all-time leading scorer in test cricket. He has gone past Alistair Cook's total of 12,472 runs. Root also now holds England's record for the most test centuries with 33. So the scores so far in that very high-scoring first test match, it's Pakistan 556 and England 492 for 3. England, they're trailing by 64 runs with 2 days to go, and the play is scheduled to begin at around 1 o'clock in the morning, Caribbean time. Let's go back to some football news. The DFA General Secretary Jasmine Vidal-Matthew believes the FIFA Football for Schools program will go a long way towards improving football at the grassroots level. While the program is scheduled to be launched soon, the DFA General Secretary says the program will help empower teachers at schools to be in a better position to deliver football to the classroom.
Something else that we're looking forward to is the FIFA Football for Schools. It's a project that the FIFA Foundation runs. That's a department from the General Secretariat of FIFA. And we've done the back work on our side. We've recently signed the MOU with the Ministry of Education, which is one of the things that supported our application. So we're hoping to start that hopefully sometime soon. The application is almost complete. There was actually one last thing that was missing that we got today. So it's just a matter of submitting that application, and hopefully before the end of this year, or at least early next year at best, we can relaunch that program. That program will incorporate an app, mobile application, that teachers can go onto and actually see sessions. So they can just go on the app, they select the age range of the students that they're working with, and they can actually get a session. It assists them as well in terms of social skills. So not only does the app communicate football, which helps in the technical development of players, but also in terms of social skills.
And that's the DFA General Secretary Jasmine Vidal-Matthew. National forward Troy Jules says he's overwhelmed with the support he has received since he made his decision to represent the national men's senior football team. Well, Jules, who's Antiguan by birth, made the switch to represent Dominica last year. He scored some 5 goals in as many matches so far. Well, Jules, who is currently playing for Trondheim FC in Norway and has had stints in the Jamaican Premier League as well. He says it's an honor to represent Dominica. He's one of the 22 players selected for the CONCACAF Nations League matches against Bermuda.
I wouldn't even say it was a tough decision, it was a good decision. I called the president all the time. I'm sure he didn't really remember me either. But he gets me down here. From since the day when I came here, I don't even call them as friends. I call them my brothers to how they treat me from since the day when I came here. And not even them, the fans, people who I don't know, they treat me like I'm one, like I'm originally from here. So now I don't use my Antiguan passport no more. But it's good. But it's a lovely place. I would always carry the flag no matter where I go. I always make sure I tell the coaches anywhere, any team that I play for, I always tell them that Dominic has a lot of talents. I can promise you guys that give us at least one more year or two. I can tell you that some of the players are going to be moving out as long as we continue to put on that good performance.
And that's the national player, Troy Jules. Well, the national team left state this morning for Bermuda. Okay, well, we should have been hearing from Troy Jules with his expectations on the senior men's national football team. And I don't think we have that clip. So, of course, just a quick reminder, Off the Field comes on tonight at 7 o'clock. You can join Delvin Esprit and myself as we discuss the latest going on in sports. Off the Field at 7 o'clock this evening. Well, that's the DBS evening news and sports. Of course, you heard the sports with... Well, you heard the news, my apologies, with Curtis Matthew. I brought you the sports. On behalf of the entire news and sports departments, of course, our links person, DJ Halo Boy, I'm Gavin Richards saying good evening.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
DBS Radio gives you top quality service over any other for live streaming of funerals. Call us today at 448-3282.
Good evening, welcome to the evening edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. It is the 9th day of October 2024. We'll begin with the evening edition of the DBS Radio Death Announcements. We announce the death of Dave Charlesworth Daru, age 57, of Marigot, who resided in Tortola. He died at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. He was the son of Florence Valmont Smith, better known as Cece of Marigot. He was the father of Dave Jr. in Tortola, Didi and Darlia Daru in Santo Domingo. He will also be remembered by his sisters, Roma in Guadeloupe, Sandra in Dominica, and Valda in the United States, and Debbie in Tortola. His aunts, Sioma in Guadeloupe, brothers Shanglar, Clem, Pepper, and Crusoe in Marigot, and Elroy Daru in Corliho. 3 grandchildren, brothers-in-law, Renrick in Tortola, McCarthy in Marigot, and Dees in Guadeloupe. Sisters-in-law, Brenda and May in Corliho. Nieces, Danielle, Danelle, Donnelly, and Jem of Marigot, Janelle in Antigua, Janelle in Tortola, Alison and Velma in France, and Addie in the United States. Nephews, Kelly in the United States, Darquan, Demoy, and Deshoy in Tortola, Junior in Antigua, Shirvani and Junior in Marigot, and Sherwin Stout in Point Michel. 3 grandnieces, 14 grandnephews including Lesroy Jr., close friends Christine Edwards, Doreen Foy and Morris in Tortola, Thomas Serra, Junior Charles, Sherlon Honore in Dominica, and the team at Meridian Construction in Tortola, the Daru family in Good Hope, Castle Bruce and the Kalinago territory, Dr. Girardel and other nurses and doctors at the dialysis ward, other family and friends in Dominica and Tortola, names too numerous to mention. The body of the late Dave Charlesworth Daru of Marigot, who resided in Tortola, can be viewed from 2:30 p.m. on Tuesday, 15th October at the Wesley Roman Catholic Church. The funeral mass will take place at 3 p.m. and will be followed by interment at the Wesley Roman Catholic Cemetery. We announce the death of Eunice Burton, better known as Noel Burton of Bataka, Kalinago territory. He died on Sunday, 6 October at his residence. He was the common-law husband of Ines Tyson. He was the father of Jane, Rachel, Pamela, Marcus, Marina, Morris, Raymond, and Henrietta. He will also be remembered by his stepchildren, Brenda, Solange, and Marilyn. Nieces and nephews, Rosamond, Claire, Kathleen, Portia, Alexia, Serafina, Claudia, Joan, Ryan, Moran, Alexander, Gilbert, Helios, and Giraud. His grandchildren, Diane, Dorel, Nikisha, Nadej, Raquel, Rohan, Leotha, Jason, Jonil, Shelley, Troy, Cedric, Ajnaya, Yanez, Johan, Yannick, Johan Patterson, Jetsus, Nick, Darwin, Dave, Krishna, Marine, and Jefferson. His great-grandchildren, Tiara, Anaya, Mercedes, Givanje, Rayan, Vashon, Elijah, Giavan, Noah, Noel, Adela, Jasmine, and Jessinia, also Cody, Kaylee, Karine, Kyra, Jaden, and Nisa, daughters-in-law, Avis and Josian, brothers, Eliud, Julian, and Robinson, sister, Marvlin, brother-in-law, Skid Tyson, sisters-in-law, Ione, Clarice, Maudlin, the James, Rabes, Laron, Williams, Tyson, Paris, Dupini, Ogis, and Valmont families. Close friends, Priscilla, Faya, Beatrice, Lorna and Sonia, Miranda, Lynch, Mr. Moog, Octavia, George Paris, Stephen Dangleben, Her Excellency Sylvani Burton and Mr. Burton, Honorable Cozier Frederick, Parliamentary Representative for the Salibia constituency, Kalinago Chief, Annette Sanford, Annette Thomas Sanford, Nurse Bernadette, Ides, and Bianca at the Atkinson Health Center. Many more nieces, nephews, family, and friends, names too numerous to mention. The body of the late Eunice Burton, better known as Noel Burton of Pataka, Kalinago territory, can be viewed from 2 p.m. on Tuesday, 15th October at the Salibia Roman Catholic Church. The funeral mass will take place at 3 p.m. and will be followed by interment at the Salibia Roman Catholic Cemetery. The funeral arrangements entrusted to Gentle Rest Funeral Service, Inc. The management and staff of DBS Radio, the nation station, extends deepest condolences to the family of the late Eunice Burton and also to the family of the late Dave Charlesworth Daru. Let's now present to you the general announcements on this evening's edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. We begin with this announcement from Dowasco. Dowasco informs customers in Grand Fort, Rivier Sirik, and Monjon that their water supply will be interrupted on Thursday, October 10th, 2024, between the hours of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the purpose of carrying out system maintenance. Dowasco regrets any inconvenience which may be caused and thanks customers for their cooperation and understanding. The public is informed of road closure due to blasting operations at the western part of the terminal area in Wesley on Friday, the 11th of October, between 3:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. Please be guided accordingly. Stay tuned for some What's On coming up next on DBS.
The curtains are coming down on cultural competitions for Independence Celebrations 2024. Brought to you by the Ministry of Culture, Youth, Sports and Community Development and the Cultural Division. Come witness a burst of culture at the finals. Cultural Finals Part 1, Friday, October 11th at the All Mill Cultural Center at 5 p.m. Cultural Finals Part 2, Saturday, October 12th at the Pure Charles Secondary School at 3 p.m. And Cultural Finals Part 3, Sunday, October 13th at the Roosevelt Douglas Primary School at 3 p.m. Independence Celebrations 2024 Cultural Competitions. See you there! Pay nu, caro nu.
Are you ready? Dominica invites the world to celebrate the biggest and most anticipated music festival in the Caribbean 2024, October 25 to 27 at the Windsor Park Stadium in Roseau. 3 nights, 1 stage, non-stop action. Get your ticket now at dominicafestivals.com. Dominica's World Creole Music Festival, presented by the government of Dominica through the Discover Dominica Authority. Dominica's World Creole Music Festival in 2024, October 25 to 27. Create memories, rejuvenate, exhilarate in excitement, music and dance. Get your ticket now at dominicafestivals.com.
We've come to the end of this evening's edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. Thank you very much for joining us. The next edition will begin tomorrow morning from 6:10 a.m. We have the morning edition of your death announcements, and then we continue at approximately 7:35 a.m. with the morning edition of your general announcements and what's on. Don't forget to hear your announcements on DBS Radio, the nation station. Come into the sales and marketing team's office Mondays through Fridays between the hours of 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Also, you can give us a call at 448-3282 or 448-3283. Same times and days mentioned, except holidays. Coming up at 7 in just about 19 minutes' time, it's Off the Field right here on your nation station, DBS Radio.
As of midnight tonight,
oh yeah, I get to say what no kill me make you stronger, nah. But Lord, I can't take the dirty ways no longer, nah. Don't know if you ain't noticed, but I own money and progress. If you have ulterior motives, hear me loud and clear. Don't call me. I don't want them people call me, 'cause I own a different vibes, and you have some different vibes. Oh, don't call me. Nah, 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 nah. Say if I have to risk my peace of mind, it. Tell the devil you look, but you ain't find it. I'm not where I really want to be. So please don't try and heavy me. Oh no, cause plenty was fresh already. So I ain't losing no sleep for nobody. I don't know if you ain't noticed, but I own money and progress. If you have ulterior motive, hear me loud and clear. Love God. I don't want them people calling. Cause I own a different vibes, and you want some different vibes. Love God. And anyway I see them passing, it's a big way. No long talk, no small talk, it's a big way. I go hear from a distance, it's a big way. No talk, we can't talk, it's a big way. You added nothing to my life, oh. When you are wrong, nothing does go right. You're toxic and complacent. We on two different wavelengths. So I said this year we galling. Cause